parents watch?
My parents only watch YouTube though. They don't watch TV.
Oh.
So
I know it sounds like a quick thing, but I actually genuinely mean it. Like, you don't actually have to do this. And we all hear really deep things all the time, and I don't take it for granted. Like, I think it's a really beautiful thing, if I'm being honest. We do need the community.
Am I allowed to have emotions like this?
family.
How am I going to be viewed if you speak about these things? The blackness. We're quicker to show anger than to show sadness.
I just don't think love by itself, for a romantic relationship and a life partner, someone you're doing life with, and all they bring you is love.
That's also a good point. We don't know. She's quite advanced. She doesn't know how to properly like send things, but she's got a TikTok.
That's so cute. I wonder what like her For You page looks like.
Oh, I know what it looks like because she sends me the stuff.
Yeah.
AI generated something like little, like, have you seen like the little animal like sitcoms and stuff, or like the dramas, like the Nollywood dramas for like vegetables? Have you seen that?
I am obsessed. That vegetable thing.
Yes.
I love it. The fruits, the vegetables, and then they've got like one with like African fruit. They've got like fast food ones. Yeah, I'm locked in.
Yeah, that's not on my page.
I don't know
No,
why
it's not on the
it's so like you get so hooked onto it. I can't scroll away. And then when I watched it, I'm like, why did I watch that?
It's an addiction, you know. Like the scrolling stuff. So the dopamine hits. It's actually dangerous.
It is, yeah.
I'm exhausted.
That's why I call it brain rot. It's literally mashing up your head when you're watching it. But yeah.
Natural brain rot. Yeah, but that's what turned her for FYP and me. AI vegetables and me. Literally. So she knows that something's happening, but she was just like, okay. Yeah, so that's that. Oh,
We're live.
We live, baby. We live. How are you guys? Oh.
Whoa.
What's a big sigh? What's wrong?
Well, hold on.
Do you need to be in session?
Listen.
Because that was a big sigh.
You know what it is? My morning, back to back, seeing patients. And then I'm just so exhausted. This afternoon, I called like a cat nap for 30 minutes. But I went into a different realm. It was so sweet.
In 30 minutes?
In 30 minutes.
I don't know if that's...
If you saw me...
Doesn't it take like a certain amount of time to actually have like REM sleep, like that good deep sleep takes like, I don't know how long it takes, but I don't know if 30 minutes is long enough to reach that state of sleep.
It probably not, but see the 30 minutes, it felt good. Like it felt like I blinked, but when I was in it, I was in it.
You know what?
Don't judge me, please.
No, I'm not judging you. I love a nap. Anyone that knows me knows I love a nap. If we're on holiday, we're going to nap. Somewhere in the itinerary has to be a nap. My friend the other day even said, Amani, you must stop. I said, I will never. I will nap. But the thing is, I like 90 minutes. Hour and a half.
That's not a nap.
That's not a nap?
Wait, what is that?
That's bedtime.
What do you mean? That's a nap.
That is not a nap.
That's a nap.
No.
Because you need like a little bit of time to settle into the nap. Then you have the nap, and then you need to like come out of it. Because remember, you come out of it and you don't know what day it is. You know when you're just a bit like, what day is it? I don't know.
That's a premium nap.
And I only do premium things. So
Okay, that's I know.
Yeah.
I know that's right.
That's a good answer, to be fair.
And you know it's a good nap. You know when like you've slept and the lines from the pillow is in your face. That's a good nap. That's a good old nap.
How about you? How you going?
I'm okay. I'm all right. Surviving the heat in the UK. There needs to be a docu-series or something to examine and deep dive into how we actually manage in the heat. And I live on the top floor of a flat, and you know heat rises. Yeah, just bake it off. That it's not cute, but it's cooling down a little bit. So yeah,
I think it's time for AC units within houses.
They're saying
No,
that.
like, people are saying that, and I don't think they're mad expensive. In my head, they were really expensive, but I didn't think they.
I don't think it's the expense. I think it's the running cost, which is gonna be mad. And you know what they're saying about energy prices? Like it's just, it's not looking good. I was googling ways to keep my flat cool without using energy. Yeah, no, we do need AC, but I need AC.
Yeah, no, I'm also on the top floor. Wow, second to top floor. And the heat rises. It's crazy. So I spent the bank holiday outside. Because it's actually hotter in my...
Yeah.
100% hot in my flat. Yeah. picnic after picnic. It's picnic season for me.
Now it makes sense.
That's why I was doing so many
You
picnics.
were really outside in all the parks. That makes sense.
I love a picnic.
What's in your picnic basket?
So, I'm actually a professional because back in the day, that's what my family liked to do. So you have to have your blanket, obviously, the proper ones. You need your cutlery. You need the bin bag. These are the things that people don't remember. The bin bag to put the rubbish
I heard
in.
no food yet, but go on.
Yeah, there will be food, but I'm
Okay.
just saying there's essentials as well.
Essentials.
I'm with you.
Essentials and napkins and your cool bag. Okay, cool. Then you have to have your good sandwiches. Not a dry cheese sandwich. You know, it's basically like charcuterie in a sandwich. You know, all the meats and rockets and good sandwich with like garlic aioli. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, nice. Then you obviously need to keep it healthy. Some mango, get some grapes, strawberries,
The
watermelon.
tone went down when you said this for some reason.
Because it's not as sweet as the sandwich, but it has to be healthy. And then obviously like chips and dip, picky bits, M&S picky bits. You know the girls on M&S at the moment, so that's it. That's in my picnic
M&S is
basket.
revolutionary, man. It's just, I don't know. I'm actually so in awe of like the creative team, the marketing team, the ideas of how they put different things together. So good.
They're having a moment right now. I'm actually very impressed with them. Very impressed with M&S's come up. No, I am. I'm impressed with it's.
What's your code? Commission? Any of you?
One day it will come.
What, that'd be a dream. M&S.
Yeah, shout outs.
Shout us, man. If you're watching, please.
My favourite space, man. I love it. I love it. How was your weekend?
My weekend was very good. Myself and my queen had a very good time. Weekend away for her birthday. So yeah.
Tell us more.
Look at you guys. Hello.
I know. We want the tea.
This is not my session. Thank you very much.
I want the tea. Tell us, where did you go?
So we went to kind of like a staycation, so out in Oxford. Have you guys ever heard of the Mirror Houses?
I've seen it on
seen
TikTok.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very
yeah,
aesthetic, very peaceful.
yeah.
All you hear is tweet, 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 tweet. Just birds. No city, no cars. Loved it. See me, that's how, when I think of relaxation, that's peak relaxation for me. Barbecue, jacuzzi, just greenery for days. So good. So good.
Love that for you. Fantastic. Guys, second episode. How are we feeling after the first one?
I haven't watched it back.
You didn't?
Why?
I can't watch myself back yet. I don't think I'm not there yet.
It was a hard watch. I won't lie. Yeah.
Who's the hard watch? Me?
Yeah. No, I'm joking. It's just difficult to watch yourself on, not for everyone, but for me personally, it was just difficult watching myself on screen. Yeah. That was uncomfortable. I get used to it.
No, I think we did. Yeah, I watched it quite a few times.
Did you?
No, the first time I was like, ugh, and then like once I watched it, I was like,
It's fine.
this is good. So I ran it back. Yeah.
Maybe second episode I might run it back.
Yeah, run it back.
We'll see.
It's
We'll
good.
see.
It was a good time. But I'm excited now, like to be live, have the audience, have people talk to us. Who's in the chat? Have we got Energy, Buzz, we've got Bex, hi girl, and Izzy Bambino, hey people. I'm glad that we've got the audience, people to chime in, chat, interact with us. Yes. Looking forward to it. Yeah. We've got our first in session.
Yeah.
Oh. Right. Yeah. So today's in session, guys, we want to have a little think about therapy. Specifically, is therapy making us mean? Because there's a lot of chat online about it. And actually, we came across this video. If Brandon, can you put it up? Things on.
Therapy? Completed it, mate. But now you're mean. Is therapy making us mean? That is the question I asked in my recent YouTube video. Because sure, we know all about setting boundaries. We know our personality types, our love languages. We know our Harry Potter houses. We know we have people-pleasing tendencies and we just give too much of ourselves. But pick your friend up from the airport, get an Uber. Forgive that person who tweeted something naughty when they were 15? Absolutely not. Cancel them. In fact, who's their employer? I'm going to email their college. Internet, do you're here.
Big up Adela. Have you seen her before?
Never. I don't think so anyway.
No, I follow her. I watch her stuff. Watch her content. She does like I would say like video essays on what is happening like within the culture. Like a lot of like social commentary. So she talks a lot on what she's done recently. Obviously that beauty standards for women. She spoke about Emma Grede and like hustle culture. She just picks up on topics and does like a bit of like a deeper dive social commentary type of thing. I like her. I like her stuff. Yeah, so I watch her YouTube. She's really good. She's good.
So with this vid, is she trying to say, of course, is therapy making us mean, or are we kind of developing our own boundaries and seeing things potentially for what they are and putting ourselves first?
I think she's saying that has gone too far. Like that is now becoming to a point where like you can't even pick up your friend from the airport. Like where's the community kind of thing? Because I don't know if I spend some time on TikTok, guys. Obviously, but again, so there's me scrolling, right, and then there's like me, the psychologist, like Dr. Amani, kind of like starts to sort of see patterns, and I like to kind of see what like the kind of collective narrative is. And I'm starting to see a bit of a shift, right? Like at the beginning, there was very much like a increase in people's awareness and knowledge about therapy, mental health, all of those things. And I think people were gravitating towards it and people were sharing things. And then slowly it's got into this thing where people are like, yeah, you lot are doing too much. Like people are like then going to therapy, regurgitating what their therapist apparently said, and then but it just sounds like you're doing too much now, like you're just mean. So a lot of things about like, you know, things about protecting your peace, enforcing your boundaries, all those things, sometimes it's just sounding a little bit too much, I think is what she's trying to get at. And when I've been looking at content, I'm like, sometimes I'm a bit like, okay, I can kind of see where she's come from with that. I don't know what you lot think.
Therapy is about yourself, right? It's something you do for yourself. It's something you do to look after yourself. But it's based on the model of therapy as we know it in the UK, in the US, in Western society, is Eurocentric. Eurocentrism is individualistic, right? So I think naturally sessions and therapy as we know it and like how we live is self-centered. It's about kind of putting yourself first. It's less about community. It's less about thinking about other people. It's more about your needs, which is a very general statement. It's obviously more nuanced than that, but I think that's where some of that's coming from, where people are just they're putting their self first or putting their needs first, and even if it's at the expense of people that you care about, they think, well, this is what I need to do to protect myself. People are always trying to protect themselves from something. I think that speaks to a wider issue around people's actual hurt and trauma. And it's almost like people are living in a state of fight or flight, so they have to do that to persistently keep themselves safe and put their needs first to keep themselves safe. I think it's about individualism and how we're taught to put, and also just how we're brought up, what we're learned, what we learn at school, what we learn at work. We're learnt to put ourselves first, very individualistic ways of thinking. I think, I definitely think that feeds into that. That's what she's picking up on.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting because, especially if we come from different backgrounds, different cultures, and then you're going to therapy, as you said, in a culture that's more individualistic, how do you blend those two things? Because surely people are not going to therapy and the therapist is saying, forget your family, forget your friends, you know, stick up for yourself. It has to be some kind of balance. Is it a bad thing that people are now, for example, understanding what they need and communicating that?
No, it's not a bad thing. And you would hope, right? You would hope that someone is giving them a balanced view and being realistic about what they need to do. But again, when it's then whatever message they want to take from it. I can't control what you take outside of the thing.
That's what I was gonna say.
I can't control what you say. Like I can do my best, right? So then people go take their thing, make content. Again, can be really helpful. That's fine. But then they might be saying things like, there's this whole conversation recently. It was like, you shouldn't. I think someone was saying how like they wanted to reach out to their friends and they were going through something, and the friend was like, "Well, I don't have the capacity for this right now," and then kind of deaded it. And it was like, yeah, I get that, but at some point you do have to like give something to your friends. You know what I mean? Like there is something about knowing your own capacity, but then also. You still have to have a little bit for your friends and have some community as well. It could have just been a one-off situation and then they've come to like the internet to talk about it. But I just think like if that narrative keeps running, then how far can people go with it? Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
When you finish sessions or you work with people, do you guys ever worry about what the individual you worked with has taken away from that? Or they're going to misconstrue it or misunderstand it and then perhaps make decisions that aren't as helpful as you had hoped. Because sometimes we communicate things, we interpret things differently. Do you ever, is that something you worry about?
Yeah. I think it's a really good question. And I'm going to answer it and ask you a question as well. So I think for me, I think something more recently, I usually ask whoever I'm working with, just one take home. Just something that kind of will stay with you. After the session, just to let me see where they're at. But I definitely sometimes think, hold on, what we've been speaking about and potentially the crux of the work we're doing, are they potentially getting it? Or are they, whatever they're interpreting is going down left flank, basically. So it's something I definitely think about. And my question to you was thinking, how do you know what they're taking home? Do you check for that?
Yeah, 100%. 100% have to check in. And if I'm not on the same page, especially working with children who are developmentally, takes them a little bit longer to process things. How I communicate something might not have been optimal or appropriate for the individual. So you have to check in because you don't know unless you ask, right? So yeah, I check in. And I was going to ask you a question and ask you another question, but I'll just answer the question. But I was going to ask a question about confidence in maybe not challenge, but sharing that you don't agree. You can still be validating, but sharing that actually that's not quite what I was saying, or actually I don't think that's the best way to approach things, or I think we've missed something here. And that's something that's also really hard to do. And I think it's important that those conversations are had in between and at the end of sessions to kind of stop stuff like this happening, this individualism, this people being mean, so people can really take home the guidance that's being shared in the session and in those spaces. But yeah.
No, I check in. Like I literally ask at the end of every session. I even tell people when I start working with them, just so you know, every at the end of every session, I'm going to check in about the session. But I do that partly so then they feel like they can comment on something that I've done as well. Like just give them that like sense of like responsibility or power. But I'll literally just say, look, what have you taken from today? At least one thing, and what's something that you might leave as well, like that maybe didn't sink in or you didn't agree with. And then during sessions, if I feel like, oh wait, I don't know how you're taking this, I'll ask them and be like, oh okay, like what you actually taking from this, or I'll be like, I'm gonna challenge you, and I'll disagree and challenge people.
You know, I read somewhere that sounds so like not a credible source of information. It might have been TikTok, I don't know, but I think it is. I did fact check it. And I had a conversation with my supervisor, but every session, people take about 15% of what's said in that hour or so. That's actually what they stick with. So actually, maths, 85% goes over their head and the 15% sticks. And if that 15% is misunderstood, you can see why things like people being mean or misunderstanding guidance can happen, because only so much that's being picked up in that time.
Do you think most clinical psychologists or other therapists, different modalities, challenge or have the confidence to do so actually? Because for me, when I think about challenging clients, patients, whoever I'm working with, I'm tentative on, I have to have that kind of empathy bridge, is what I call it, first. Develop that relationship before I'm able to kind of do that challenging or naming what I can feel, what's visible, what's not visible, what's being spoken about, and what is. But I think for me first, I need to have that relationship with them, and then I am able to name and challenge things. That's how I kind of go about it, though.
I don't think effective therapy exists without challenge. You can validate someone and simultaneously challenge them, and they're not mutually, separate things. The two things can exist at the same time. Whether other therapists are able to do that, I think you said it's dependent on a number of things, one of them being the relationship. I'm always curious about psychotherapists. I think psychotherapists are so fascinating. Their way of working is very different to how you were trained, and how we understand therapy. Some psychologists practice psychodynamically, like psychotherapists. I think there's a lot of overt and covert challenge in that dynamic anyway. And also challenge doesn't have to be like explicit, like how you think challenge is. Challenge could be tentative, how you ask questions. I think challenging people or being curious, let's use that, it's a skill. It's a skill. So, the therapist has that skill, then they'll be able to manage that challenge and then push back a little bit in a effective way or a helpful way.
Yeah, no, 100%. There's different ways to do it, and then I just think it gets easier over time. I think because I feel like I've been doing this for a minute, so I find it easier to do it. Again, it's not always like an explicit question. It might just be in like just silence as well. Sometimes like just not coming back, and then they're like, and it's not to be like intimidating, but it's just to like sit with what you just said, like sit with what you just said and think about it, so there's different ways to do it, and I think it's necessary, because I had this conversation the other day as well. I think we're at a point now where people are indulging in therapy, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Like, let's think about this, right? Cool. So back in the day, and it's still now, but like back in the day in particular, it was really stigmatized to say, I'm going to therapy. It wasn't spoken about.
Yeah.
And then I used to watch like American TV, and they would be like, I'm going to go see my therapist. It was just common thing. Yeah. And I'm starting to find now, I'm working, people are doing the same thing. And I'm working with people for a really long time who haven't got like a specific problem. They just want to come to therapy, which again is fine, but it can become quite indulgent. And I'm finding that people want to like dig into like the deepest, darkest parts of themselves, almost like a hobby. And again, there's nothing necessarily wrong with it, but I think what can happen is, one, like she was saying in the clip, it can make you really like more attuned to yourself than other people if you're not using it in a particular way, or maybe your therapist isn't challenging you. But also it can kind of make you scared to experience anything else but being okay. Like, do you know what I mean? They become hyper aware of, is this anxiety? Am I being avoidant? Am I doing this? Am I doing that? And like the therapy language like gets stuck in their heads, and they try and use it for everything. And some of the work I do with people is like saying, I can't stop you from being anxious again. Like I'm like, literally, I'm so sorry. You will be anxious again, but it's about like to what extent, like
how you manage
it. Like that's what it's about. But I think when some people indulge in it and they get all of this stuff in their heads, it comes to a point where they become too self-aware almost, and then also like not really acknowledging other people as well, hence they're being mean or putting in like boundaries and that aren't as helpful as they can be. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah. Do you think people having clear goals before approaching a therapist, seeking therapy, helps with that almost overindulgence in it? So what do you want to get out of this? Typically a therapist would explore that with you anyway, but before you even get to the stage where you're like, okay, I want therapy, having that reflection with yourself about what you want it for? Do you think that's something that can allow people to be a bit more balanced in how they use therapeutic spaces or work with therapy practitioners?
My mind's changed over time with this. I don't think there necessarily needs to be a strict goal when you start therapy. I think it can come naturally with time as you sit down with someone and you actually explore what's going on for you week to week, day by day, or every other week, depending on the frequency when you see a therapist. But I used to be quite a stickler in terms of, specific goal, but that's a very particular modality. That's more CBT, where you have to have a goal. I need to measure it, I need those metrics. But if you detach yourself from those kind of models and you think about where it's kind of come from, and you just sit down with someone, and with time, if you stop pushing for a goal, these modalities kind of run on, short, brief kind of therapy, and you go for more of that exploratory kind of phase, you can get to goals naturally and organically. Most definitely, especially in the private side of the world.
Because they're designed to be long, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I also have goals. And I've actually found that people say, oh, Amani, like, I actually like that we have something to focus on. Because, like, say they've done therapy before, they've kind of felt like, what am I here for? But, like, I'm flexible. So every, like, 6-ish sessions, and I say 6-ish because on the 6th session, you might come and be like, Amani, I've had a mad week. And we end up talking about that. So I'm flexible with it. But then we'll come back to it and we'll be like, okay, cool. We've been talking about this, but you said you want to do this. Is this still what you want to do? Yes?
Yeah.
No? Do you want to? Like, I'm chill about it, but I still have something to come back to. Even if I'm seeing someone for a year, we'll still do that same thing. And they said they find it really useful. So I think it's useful for us and them, but again, like, it's flexible. It's flexible.
What do you guys think about that in terms of the long-term therapy? Because obviously, if you're coming from an NHS system where everything is short, but kind of packaged in that way, 12 sessions, kind of max 16 if you're really pushing it, and you've got long-term therapy now if you go private side of the world, and things can be, as you said, Dr. Amani, it could be up to a year, which is quite normal, by the way, outside the NHS structure. What's your thoughts about that and how that works? Because is your goal, you're working on something for a whole year?
Yeah, well, some modalities though, like going back to psychotherapists, they work with people typically a year. I've spoken to psychotherapists, they've worked with people 2 years, 3 years. It's an ongoing, and therapy and development, right? It's not linear, and it's a process that continues to change. So I think someone can have a therapist for as long as they need. The issue is when you come out of private spaces, the NHS can only offer so much, obviously, because of funding, practically. And I think that's where we need to start thinking about what therapy can look like as opposed to what we've told it's been look like. So going back to Western ideas of what therapy is, if you look at, there's studies around different ways non-Western societies engage in therapy. There's actually an evidence base and it has clinically significant evidence to suggest that actually this works for low mood, this works for low self-esteem. So things like community-based work, which is an actual type of therapy. I think it links with community psychology. Yeah.
Last week.
But it actually has clinically significant evidence to show that actually this improves low mood or it reduces anxiety. And there was one study that was done in, I think, Florida, and it looked at the natives, the people who were native. It was a particular tribe. Forgive me, I can't remember the name of the tribe, but they were native to that land. And that particular therapy was them going to, so it involved multiple things. So they had to do regular letters and write letters to themselves, and they went to this community function, is the best way I can explain it, and read the letters to the community elders.
That's cute.
And then they'd spend time speaking to them about how they were finding their studies and things that they were bothering them. And then they'd engage in cultural practices as well. So speaking about their ancestors and speaking about spirituality. And I think it was longitudinal, and they actually found that it did a lot. So actually outside of what we know therapy to be, and we touched on this last week, about therapeutic and therapy, or idea of what therapy is, it goes beyond that, and it can have benefit. So I think when we talk about long term, there's so many things we can do long term that can actually be really helpful. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's good. I'm also conscious we haven't explained what a psychotherapist is. Because the thing is, psychotherapist.
Question.
What? Sorry.
I got a question about this psychotherapist because now it's CPT psychotherapist.
No, I was going to say, so psychotherapist is an umbrella term. So psychotherapist is an umbrella term for any person that has learnt what we call a talking therapy. So talking about your issues, right? And then they can all specialize in different types of talking therapy that have a different focus. You were talking about CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy. That's very much thinking about like how are your thoughts, your feelings, and your behaviors and your bodily sensations interlinked, and how do they influence each other, and how do we stop that from happening, essentially. And then what you were talking about, it sounds like you were talking more like psychodynamic, psychoanalytic. Think Freud, people, right? Think, because everyone knows about Freud, right? Very much like, I mean, it's developed over time, but it's very much from him. How's your childhood affected how you are now and your subconscious, and how is that driving everything that you do? So yeah, there's different types of psychotherapists, but you were talking specifically about psychodynamic
therapy. Yeah.
Is psychotherapist a protected title?
Is psychotherapist a protected title? On its own, I'm not sure.
I don't think it is.
No, not on its own. The same way a psychologist isn't on its own. I think they have to have psychoanalytic, or like CBT, yeah, I don't think on its own. That's a thing to fact check. But psychologist definitely on its own is not.
I think definitively is, like you said, the psychotherapist is anyone that has maybe you have to have the qualification to use the title, but it's so broad.
It's so broad.
It's super broad.
Yeah, but that's sorry.
No, I was gonna say, from what I remember when I used to work in a different service, you can do a master's and call yourself a psychotherapist.
Well, you can do your BSc in psychology and call yourself a psychologist. Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, this is probably part of the reason that people aren't happy with the therapists online, you know? Yeah. And they're saying that people are mean because they're not getting, again, we're talking about how we work. Again, I can't guarantee that people are taking what I say. That's fine, but I know what I'm doing. Some people potentially are using titles that they shouldn't be using. They're not qualified to be using. And then telling people stuff, and then they run with it, they go online again, because that's how people are sharing information these days, which again is absolutely fine, but we need discernment. We need to have discernment.
How do we know, in terms of protected titles, where do we go to find that kind of stuff out?
What, in the UK, United Kingdom, the governing bodies, so there's a different one. So if you are going to look at a psychologist, they need to be under the HCPC, Healthcare Professionals Council.
Yeah, I get that.
Sorry, mixed up my C's. And then we have to register when we qualify. So that's how you know that we're legit and we've gone through the processes. But you can...
You know our registration number? So every psychologist will have a HCPC number. Can people look that up?
Yes, you can.
So that would be a way to verify whether someone is a qualified clinical psychologist. Can't speak for the other therapists though, how you verify whether someone is.
CBT therapist is under the BACP.
BACP.
Thank you.
So they'd have a number as well, right?
They would have a registration number.
You can search their name or number, same way as HCPC.
Okay.
So guys, do your Googles.
Do your Googles, people. Do your Googles.
Do your Googles, please.
Because people are claiming all sorts. I'm like, no, I've been really dead serious. No, because it's been a thing lately, right? It's been a thing. And like, I feel like people have mixed opinions about this. But I fundamentally, outside of my own ego, because I'm going to part of it's my ego. The fact that I've worked so hard. And then someone else can come and just sort of claim it. Right? Outside of that. It's quite dangerous.
It's extremely dangerous, as in lives are at stake. Lives are literally at stake, especially when you have someone that is really struggling and it's a matter of life and death for some people, and you have people incorrectly advising, incorrectly managing risk and containing someone. It takes years of training. Psychology is the 3 years of training. We're trained to manage risk. We're trained to do these things, as are other therapeutic practitioners. You can't just wake up one day and say, okay, I'm going to do this. The same way you wouldn't go to a doctor, a physical health doctor, an MD, who's not a qualified doctor. Would you let them give you prescriptions and advise you about what to do with your body? You wouldn't do that. And I think there's a petition to protect the title.
As there should be.
Yeah,
Where
there's
do
a
I sign?
petition.
Tell me.
I think it's on the .gov website. I'm gonna find it.
thank you.
We need to put it in the chat
I
because
need to know if I can sign on
it's
that
dangerous. The medical doctors could never.
line. No.
They could never. So
Because there's skill involved, like you said, right? So we deal with, and I think because there's a misconception of what we do, like we only do therapy. There's many things that we do. Like you said, we were thinking about risk, right? Like how do we keep someone safe? We're containing people, as in how do we give you that kind of emotional, but also kind of like practical space to feel okay in yourself. That takes a lot of time. If you even think about sometimes when you're sort of supporting a friend, sometimes that can be a really emotionally draining thing to do over time, right? So to be able to do that in the way that we do, i.e. contain them, is a job in itself, and it takes a lot of skill and it takes a lot of practice. So not have that, like my assistants, right, at work, I'll literally say, guys, you need to do your 10,000 hours. You need to do your 10,000. You need to do your 10,000 hours. You need to have your boots on the ground and do your 10,000 hours, and things will just come. And I get it. At the beginning, you get a bit like caught up in like all the academics of it, and that's important.
yeah,
But just do your 10,000 hours, have the experience, because that is going to be the thing that is underpinning like your qualified life and giving you like your legitimacy.
yeah.
So for people to just come in and not do them 10,000 hours
And call themselves
all sorts.
X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Dangerous.
Dangerous.
There's also litigation and policy also wrapped up in it. If you don't know your stuff, when it comes to safeguarding children, adults, vulnerable people, you'll find yourself in court.
Yeah, 100%.
It's not a joke. So yeah, we need to
For me to
do what we
differentiate as
can.
well, because in NHS is rigorous in terms of DBS checks, all these kind of things. It's more so the private therapy world we're talking about in terms of doing your checks, because you don't know exactly who you're dealing with, and if they're not linked to an establishment or clinic, even more so. But you do your checks anyway.
Do your due diligence, people.
Do
your
them
checks.
anyway. But in NHS, you know you're working with someone who's gone through those checks and those hurdles. But when people kind of go off on their own, you just have to really make sure that this person is actually linked to a governing body and they're registered. So please check that out.
Oh, sorry, I'm taking it somewhere else.
Take it. I'll come back.
You know what else I was thinking, yeah? Because I'm just thinking about the question about, is therapy making us mean? A big part of our job is like reflective practice. So we've been able to kind of think about like your own experiences and how they're impacting your work, and you know what's going on with you in the client, etc. And you do that with your supervisor, right? And we spend a lot of time thinking about people just to make sure, like I'll be with my supervisor and I'll be like, okay, is this a me thing or a them thing? Do you know what I mean? Like I'm doing that all the time because I don't want my stuff to influence their stuff, right? Too tough. Cool. So if you have people that aren't doing that, right, and then giving people therapy, how do I know that your stuff is not now being put onto them? And then again, going back to the online thing, now they're putting your stuff out there for everyone.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we don't know what your own experiences are. We don't know if you've now like had to navigate a world and become essentially in survival mode. You're passing on messages within survival mode, and then they're doing the same thing. Of course, people are going to think that we're mean. Like, you know, that's just something that came to my head.
I think there's two layers there. One is, are you actually having regular supervision to check those things? But two, which is actually, depending on what type of therapy and what modality you work in, not everyone has to do their own therapy. As like, for example, the psychologist, it's not mandated that we do our own personal therapy. Whereas there's other types of therapy where they have to. Like counselling psychologists, they have to do a certain amount of hours in terms of personal therapy. So what do you guys think about that in terms of, we are taking people to places, right, that they necessarily haven't gone in a long time. Do you think as therapists we should also be on the other side of that chair, table, sofa, park?
I think it's helpful. I think it's helpful to have gone through it. Like, to have to do it for your whole career, I don't think it's reasonable. But I think it's helpful to know, because I think it's down to the little things, right? So even me, because I've done it, it's even down to the fact that I know what it's like to, maybe I can't be bothered today. I actually can't. But I know what it's like. So I know what it's like when my client might not be bothered to talk to me. I know what it's like when I'm like, I don't want to tell her that, I don't want to tell her that thing. I know what that's like for the client. Do you know what I mean? It's just those small little things. I know what that's like. So then when I'm talking to them, I can be like, picking up on that. I can pick up on it, or I can just basically validate it and just be like, I get it. Like, you didn't want to talk to me today, but you're here. So let's do something.
And I'd say as well, yes, it's helpful, but at the same time, it's something clinical psychologists don't get. And I think training is structured in such a way, it's kind of managed.
Yeah.
In the sense that we are taught to almost, obviously, bring our empathy, bring our compassion into our work, but also have some separation. So managing things like transference, counter-transference, being very aware of our own emotional states and things like reflective practice would help with that, for example. But it's not the same as therapy. It almost contains that part of you. So even if there are things you do need to work on as a psychologist, you can still be an amazing therapist. You can still do amazing work whilst not having therapy. That makes sense.
No, it does.
Yeah. So I think that they've done it in such a way that you could maybe get away with it, but I think it's needed. There's certain experiences you're not going to get without having the therapy, literally being in the seat.
I think they should mandate it, if I'm being honest with you.
Do you think they should mandate it?
100%.
But they have to pay for it, guys.
Yeah, please pay for that.
They are not
That's so true.
doing that.
That is so true.
Please.
No, I hear it. So what do you think about the conclusion? What do you think about...
Is therapy making us mean?
Yeah, if you're thinking about what's happening online, the conversations that people are having. I don't know as well if you guys have noticed, again, this is just me, like, I guess it's the researcher in me, like, just picking up on themes. There's a lot of talk about friendships online at the moment, especially like women. Yeah, have you been noticing it? Yeah, a lot of and there's a lot of things around kind of even male friendships and like being able to open up, right?
Okay.
And obviously people are sharing what they think you should do in certain situations with friends, and again, some of it is basically block and ghost, essentially. Not in those words, but it's just like, it's kind of like, well, if I don't have the emotion, like I said, if I don't have the emotional capacity for you, so why should I? You don't have to support all your friends. And like, again, it's all very much like, and I'm just like, what? Are people actually like, and where is this coming from? And again, it might not even be like them actually going to therapy. It might be them picking up on therapy speak. And I got a little bit of a problem with that, guys. I do, how it's being used, like therapy talk. Yeah. I mean, it's a whole conversation in itself. But I do feel like there are people that take therapy talk as a way to kind of give themselves like a quick fix way to explain how they're feeling. But when you like break it down, some of the stuff that they're saying are either like clinical terms that are like diagnostic, that you can't just be flinging around willy-nilly. Or they're not quite used in the right context, or they've not been explained quite well by the person they got it from. So then people just sort of run with this thing. Again, like boundaries is a big one. Gaslighting is another big one as well.
Oh, sugar.
Yeah, right? Just because your friend disagreed with you doesn't mean that they're gaslighting you. It doesn't. And I understand why people might use that word, but that's actually a really... that comes from abusive contexts, like situations, like that's where that word comes from. So I think when we like take these things and then we apply them to kind of like normal human things, like you disagreeing with your friend is a normal thing to do. Your friends are going to annoy you. Like people are going to annoy you. We're going to be disappointed in each other, but we need to figure out how to get through it. But when we take like therapy talk and apply it to these situations, people become really guarded, and then you're not doing normal human stuff, which sometimes is a mess. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they get a bit mean.
I think that's what I was touching on. It speaks to the state in which people are living in, that hypervigilance, that someone's out to get me or someone's doing something to like plot against my downfall, and then they attribute normal human day everyday interactions into something that's far more sinister. They interpret someone not being available as someone not caring about them. Again, I think that's more about them. But yeah.
And that's the thing. So in all of that therapy you might have done, or the things that you're learning, have you even learned actually what is this about me that's doing all of this stuff? Do you know what I mean? Or are you just, again, using everything as a defense, a defense?
It definitely sounds more like weaponizing therapy, as you said, this therapy talk.
Yeah.
Because for me, I don't think therapy makes someone mean. I definitely, as we kind of discussed, it gives people more awareness, and it might give you that confidence and, let me actually put myself first by communicating my needs. That's not making someone mean, but I can see how that interpretation online could be kind of held.
Yeah.
But I'm not with it's they're making us mean. I think people's interpretations and what's popular potentially right now is running. And what's that social currency is?
Clout.
There we go.
Clout is a hell of a drug. Hell of a drug. Yeah, and the thing is, as well, it's set up in that way, right? Because the algorithm wants you to be quick, and it needs you to be like, what's the word I'm looking for? Inflammatory, right? Because that's what gets people gets the people going. Do you know what I mean? So they do that. They use inflammatory language. They get the views. Algorithm goes after. Okay, cool. It keeps circulating, and now what everyone's interpreting, or a lot of people are interpreting it as, this is how it should be, but it is coming across as mean. But therapy itself, when done properly, shouldn't be making you mean.
Nope.
Absolute opposite.
No.
If anything.
Unless, for example, you're taking away the power someone held over you, if that makes sense in terms of your boundaries.
Okay, yeah, I know what you mean.
So actually, if it's on the other side, if I was the person, for example, benefiting from you not communicating your needs, and now all of a sudden Dr. Amani thinks you can tell me, actually, you know what, I need this 5 minutes for myself, I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
When did your voice become so loud? Then, actually, it is, for me, my interpretation is, you are mean.
Yeah.
Therapy has made you mean, because now you know to put yourself first, in a sense.
Yeah.
That interpretation, so it's who's receiving it.
Yeah. Okay, no, I hear that.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I hear that. I agree with that.
At what point does it become dysfunctional, though? At what point does it become you're never giving and you're always receiving, and then your relationships start to break down? At what point does it?
Sorry, I give you the look straight now.
Yeah. At what point is that actually helpful, and then when does it become unhelpful? It's a thin line, because people absolutely have the right to express what they want and communicate their needs, but then when does it start to actually have negative impacts on how you're living your day-to-day life? I think it's a balance.
Absolutely.
It's definitely balance.
Too much of anything's not good, right? Is that what I say?
Too much of anything is not good. Absolutely.
So you're right, it is a balance.
Yeah.
But a first step of, for example, you communicating your needs is not making you mean, for sure.
Not the first step, no.
So please stop weaponizing therapy. That's a call out from me.
Okay, that's the takeaway. No, that's the takeaway. That's the takeaway. It's the weaponization of it. That's the issue. Yeah. Or the misuse of it. Or using it even becomes its own defense mechanism or form of avoidance for what you actually need to do. So all of them things that we just said, those are the takeaway.
Package, ribbon, tie it up and send.
Signed, sealed, delivered. I love that, guys. Thank you. Shall we debrief?
I think it's time.
It's neat. It's not plugged in.
Where do they plug into?
We should grab the other one. This. There we go. Don't break the things.
No, technical difficulties.
I know. Well, a bit of a struggle.
Mr. Man.
This guy.
I had a year of not drinking, decided to have a drink again. It ruined 3 days of my life. I had a couple of glasses of wine, didn't get drunk. It ruined 3 days of my life because of the domino effect it caused. So it meant that I got worse sleep that night. I ate more poorly the next day because my dopamine system or whatever, the cortisol system was all messed
That's
up.
resilience, yeah.
And then I podcasted worse. I didn't go to the gym the day after, so that day or the day after because of that, because I felt really bad. I then slept worse, and I could track all of this on my Whoop, #ad, #sponsor, #investor, whatever. And I was like, oh my God, those 3 glasses of wine had this hidden domino effect that I must have been living with. I had a year of not drinking, decided to have a drink again. It ruined 3 days.
3 days of his life, guys. So that's Stephen Bartlett on his podcast, Diary of a CEO. He was speaking to Chris Williamson. So he is former Love Island star turned podcaster. He is the kind of host of Modern Wisdom. It's got like 4+ million followers, and it's very much about kind of productivity, becoming your best self, personal growth. Quite similar to Diary of a CEO, really. The people that aren't happy online. So this, I feel like this episode actually came out a while ago, like a few months ago. I couldn't find the specific date, but I feel like it was a few months ago. And then in the last few days, for whatever reason, it's come up again. And yeah, people aren't happy. Backlash online. So raging all the way from just people like joking, like, oh, you can't have a drink, like, come on. And then there's people actually fully like criticizing and basically saying that this is feeding into what they call optimization culture. Are we aware of this?
Educate, please.
Educate. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a new, I don't know if it's a new term, but like I'm just recently hearing about it. Optimization culture essentially is this idea that we can be like the best of everything. Like we can make ourselves like the most productive person, even the most beautiful person. Have you seen like looks maxing?
Looks maxing is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
What's looks maxing?
It's like when you try and literally optimize the way you look. So I don't know, there's Gen Z terms, like they'll do like certain face exercises.
Oh,
Gua
to
sha.
get the chisel.
Yeah,
And
gua sha.
I'm not opposed to gua sha.
Do you know what one looks maxing thing I saw? I saw this was men doing it, cutting their eyelids to make their eyes look more, they're called hunter eyes, to give themselves hunter eyes, but that obviously shouldn't take a scalpel to your eye and cut your eye.
Wait, they're doing it themselves?
Yes.
No, guys, they're not.
looks maxing.
I swear, yeah. It's one of the looks maxing things that they're doing, but essentially it's anything you do to improve your physical appearance. So I think gym is part of it, but I think they take it to an extreme.
There's a science to it. I think there's like even again, I saw a video, you guys, I'd be on TikTok, but there's like a science to it, and they'll analyze their face and be like, okay, like you've got like a 0.5 asymmetry in your this like they know the muscles and all of this stuff that they need to fix. Like it's down to a science, right? And so yeah, that's looks maxing. So that's one of these like optimizing things. Obviously as well, we've seen like a big thing of like, again, with vlogs and TikTok and whatever, morning routines, right? Get up at 5 a.m. Now, I am a 5 a.m. person, so not too tough on me, but that is out of necessity. It's not my preference, but it's out of necessity, right? And maybe I'm feeding into this whole thing. Anyway, but yeah, 5 a.m. starts, supplements, 70-day hard. You've seen 70-day hard? No, 75-day hard even. Even having a smartwatch, Aura rings, all of these things are basically feeding into us being this like optimal idea of a human, best looking, most productive, etc., etc., etc. And the people that they're not happy, they're saying that, you know what, this is getting too far now. Like this is actually getting ridiculous. What do you guys think?
So basically, what they're saying is he feeding in and basically projecting this, especially the young generation. So you're talking about this look maxing. I didn't know this even existed. My worry is, when is enough enough? What's the bar? When do they stop this?
Listen, yeah. Years ago, history of mental health disorders, they weren't mental health disorders until it started to adversely really significantly impact people in such a way it was deemed to be dysfunctional. All of this reminds me of eating and people that have difficulties with eating. And at one point it's diet culture, it's just diet. You know, when Victoria Beckham and size 0, like that was normalized and that's a standard that women should be striving for. And then it only got to a point where people were ending up in hospital and losing their lives. And like, okay, actually guys, this is unhealthy. But I feel like things always have to get so bad before everyone's like, okay, that's enough now. Stop. This is giving me the sense that it's heading that way. From time people are cutting their eyes open to give themselves hunter eyes. This is very slippery slope,
Very
and that's what it
slippery
reminds me
slope.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's literally a train that's not. I don't think it's gonna end well.
yeah.
At all.
Pendulum always swings as well because the skinny look is very much coming back, and it's a whole different conversation. But I do think it's a very slippery slope. Okay, so if I'm to take the video at like face value, right? We all know that alcohol has its effects. Come on, we all know that. I'm actually not even a big drinker. For similar reasons that you said, like I know that I need to do my food shop tomorrow and I'm not going to be able to do it. So I know it has a knock-on effect, right? So on face value, I understand what he's saying, but I think it's because it's a video that is existing in a culture that has looks maxing and all of this stuff. People are getting sick and tired of constantly being told you need to do this, you need to do that to be this like best version of yourself. And again, to what extent, to what point, because the bar keeps moving. We all know the bar keeps moving. If you even look at your own life, right, you can probably sit there and be like, oh, like what have I really done with my life, you know, when you're in that mood. But then if you look at it like the whole span of your life, 20-year-old you would be so happy to be where you're at now. So we all can naturally do those things and the bar can move, but you have to sometimes sit and pause and be like, okay, let me just laugh. Can I laugh? Can I go outside? Can I see my friends? Can I have a drink? Like all of those things in moderation. I mean, no, you shouldn't even drink in moderation. The science says you shouldn't. But you know what I mean? Just, it doesn't have to be this huge pendulum swing. And I think we're at a point now where everything has to be its optimal. And it's quite concerning. I think it's quite concerning.
What do you guys think? Because one of the things that's mentioned was productivity, right? What's your thoughts on that in particular, especially in the working world where we're constantly striving, right? Hours are getting longer. People are just, the economy is difficult for people, right? And when we think about productivity, people's relationship to rest and actually being relaxed. I see your face already. What's your thoughts?
I think people are aware that they need rest, but I think we're in a context at the moment where people actually don't have a choice.
Exactly.
People are fighting for their lives. I'm not even exaggerating. Some people are doing 50 hours, 60, some extreme is 70 hours picking up overtime because they have a mortgage to pay. They have rent to pay. They've got kids to feed. They need to go and buy groceries. Milk has inflated so much, you know what I mean? So I think people, yes, they would like to rest, and I think they're aware that they need rest, and I think that they're aware that they're tired. I think it gets to a point as well when you kind of just get used to the exhaustion.
Yeah, for sure.
And then it just becomes something in the background. Slowly, we know that it will affect our bodies physiologically. It can have all types of long-term physical and psychological effects. But I think people are fighting for their lives, and they're doing what they have to do to survive. We're in survival mode. So I don't necessarily think it's that people always have a bad relationship with rest, but I think that they don't have the capacity for it. It's out of reach. It's out of reach for a lot of people. And then, like you was talking about pendulums and spectrums, you've got people on the other side of the spectrum who are just that optimization. So they are pushing themselves. They are sleeping in the office. They are doing certain things because they want to reach a standard maybe that's been presented to them. They want to make a certain salary. They want to drive a certain car. There are certain standards that they've met, so they're pushing themselves to strive for this thing. And maybe that wouldn't be the case if social media didn't exist at all and they had nothing to compare it to and create these standards from.
I
think that's the thing.
Oh, you go.
No, sorry, I was just going to agree. I think that's the thing. I think people are in survival mode. And I think we're at a point where you've got no other option, like you said. You've got no other, like it's literally, I work 2-3 jobs sometimes to put food on the table. And I think that's probably why people are exhausted when they see things like this, because it's like, what, another thing? I've got 2 jobs and now you want me to have hunter eyes as well? What's going on? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, people are so, and I think that's why part of the reason is getting a bit of backlash, because it's like, okay, because I always think about like this, right? There's always like the kind of like wider issues, like you said, like right now, like economically, we're all having to do what we have to do. And then, but then like, where's like the individual kind of, not responsibility is not the word I'm looking for, but it's like, where's like the flex as an individual? So where is it where you can just go to the park because it's free, a free type of rest, right? if then you add another thing on to what people need to do, like their time to have that flex gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's why people are exhausted, because you're just adding another thing on. What do you mean? And again, I spend some time on TikTok and New Year. Hey, did you see the content of the New Year stuff last year?
No.
It was very much like I'm looking at you because it's for the girlies. Girls, we need to have a hair calendar. So people were putting together on Canva the hairstyle that we're going to do
for every month. Yeah, no.
And then I said, no, okay, this is my original thoughts, yeah. I looked at it and I was like, you know what, that's a good idea, because sometimes I don't know what I'm going to do, so maybe I can plan it out. And then I sat and thought about it. I said, Amani, then you have to think about who's going to do the hair. Then you have to buy the hair. Then you have to pay for the actual thing to be done. It just then became a whole thing. And I was just like, wow, like how have we found another thing to add onto this kind of new year, new me thing, which I'm not fully opposed to. I'm not actually opposed to like these concepts in moderation, but it's like just constantly adding on. Now you must drink chia seed water in the morning.
It's good though, don't knock it.
Have you tried it?
I regularly put chia seeds in everything.
In water?
Yeah, with
Not
a little bit of
water.
lemon. Yeah.
No, but is it like, so in my head, yeah, because you know it soaks up the water.
Yeah.
It looks like frog eggs.
It does get a little bit. If you've got a texture issue, don't bother. But
Is it coming like okra?
it doesn't taste like anything, but
Okay.
it's got this source of fibre. Sorry, I feel like I'm feeding everything.
As is my broccoli.
Oh yeah, fair. But it's just easy.
Okay.
Just dash it in my bottle and put it in my bag and take it with me. Especially if I haven't had breakfast, I'm getting some nutrient, something is going, and
Yeah.
I'm getting something into me. But yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, this is another thing. Maybe I'll do it, guys. This is another thing for me to add. But yeah, I think people are sick and tired.
Yeah.
I think something you said is we've gone down the line of people have no choice in your situation, right? So obviously I work in physical health, and more recently I'm working with a lot of people who are in environments that's high pressured. So they're working in big salaries, but a huge amount of responsibility and pressure that they're working with. And when I speak to them, even at the point where they're literally in treatment and their health is declining, they are still grappling with the identity of this work person and this person who's actually physically needing rest. And they can't separate whatsoever.
Yeah. Because our identities are tied to who we are.
Our worth.
So where did I go? One day I was in a country. It was a European country. Maybe it was Amsterdam. Anyway, I can't remember where it was. I was having a conversation, and the person was basically saying how they find it weird that the first thing that we ask is, what do you do? Because they're like, they don't ask.
Yeah.
I really do feel like it was a Dutch person. I just can't remember. And I was like, okay, like, what do you ask? And they're like, who are you? And I was like,
That's so nice.
but it's nice, isn't it? It's nice to kind of like actually be appreciated for who you are as a person. But we're
Your
so
title.
used to like, what do you do? And I like, it makes me think like, how much does that feed into like how much people hustle because they want to get to a position where they have a title where they can say, I do this, and automatically I get respect, because I know I automatically get respect when I tell people what I do, right? And I didn't go into it for that, but I know that happens.
Do you feel that it feeds into your identity and like who you are?
Yeah.
Like it's a massive part of
Yeah,
your
yeah,
identity. What about you?
I'll tell you why no. I understand people's perception of our titles,
Yeah.
but for me, I don't hold it in the same way because it doesn't hold weight for me as if I'm thinking in a future family, supporting a family and stuff like that, I don't hold it in that same level. So people hold our titles high because, you know, you're a doctor, you're a clinical psychologist, you work so hard to get there, the years it's taken. I look at the financial, what I'm getting back from it. I'm helping loads of people, but it's not necessarily helping my pockets whatsoever. As a male, I'm big from a male perspective, I'm being so honest. So actually, I don't get that gratification from holding the title at all.
So wait, are you saying that you would hold like being a father? So you're talking about like family and stuff. So you're saying like that would then be more important to you?
Yeah.
No, I do get that. I think that would come once I get there because I'm not for me, this is part of who I am. But I hear what you're saying.
The title for me is.
I do get it.
It doesn't. But again, it's just all very personal. The title for me doesn't hold the weight, and it's probably as close as when I got closer and closer to qualification, and I saw the real world. I said, "Ooh, ooh, scary."
It's real scurry out here.
Easy, sure. No, okay, no, I get that. But yeah, I do think that we have like you were saying, like a thing in our culture, British. I'm just gonna go with British, even people, where we can hold it. Actually, no, even in our own, even in our actual like home cultures, right? Like, yeah, no, it's a thing. It's a thing. It holds a lot of weight.
Yeah,
holds a lot of weight, and I guess people are like really striving towards feeling better about themselves in a world that's basically telling you that you're not doing enough. You need to work harder. You need to do X, Y, and Z. So yeah, I think it's sad to say that. It makes me think of the happiness trap. I talk about it with my clients a lot. So the happiness trap essentially comes from a type of therapy called ACT, which stands for Acceptance Commitment Therapy. Big up him. And basically it says that life is tough. And we've been told that we're going to be happy when this happens and that happens or whatever. But the reality is life is tough. And you need to accept it, essentially. But whilst you're accepting that life can be tough, you can be committed to, hence the acceptance commitment, committed to what is important to you and your own values. And that's where you'll find like true happiness and meaning. So when I was watching that, I was thinking about, okay, cool, like, are we like doing this thing and striving because we think that we'll get to a place where we feel really happy? And then actually, because that's actually not going to happen, we know that it even shows in the research that once you get to a certain amount of money, you actually don't increase your happiness at all anyway. But that's why people get upset.
You trying to say I'm in a trap?
Are you in a happiness trap?
Yeah.
I mean, that's between you and your guy. No, potentially.
No, I hear you.
No. Yeah, and I think, again, I'm always really realistic with people. Yeah. You're going to need some money to survive this world. Money for Mac, right? For sure. There's something about that that's really important. So when I speak to clients and we're having these kind of similar conversations, I said that I'm not going to stop you from working. And I'm not going to say it's important. I'm not going to be like, no, you need to like always be meditating and do all of this. No.
I'm not meditating.
That's the first one that came to mind. That doesn't make any sense. You still need to do what you're doing. That absolutely makes sense. But whilst you're doing that, do you really need to beat yourself up in the way that you are? Do you really need to add that extra... Like, I don't know, if you need to start thinking about looks maxing, does that even matter to you, or is someone telling you that matters to you? Like, really know yourself and what's important to you. It's so funny because like my clients end up saying values a lot. As like they start working with me, they're like, I was thinking about what my values really are. Like, and it's really sweet because I think it's starting to hit home that like, when I'm making these decisions in my life, again, whether I should like not go out with my friends, whether I should not drink or whatever it is that because it means something to me and it might impact something that means something to me? Or is it because Stephen Bartlett told me that his Whoop watch wasn't functioning that well after he drank? Do you know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah.
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think at the core of it is people don't know who they are. That we live in a society where people don't know who they are. People don't spend enough time with themselves. A, because they spend a lot of time working, and B, they spend the rest of their spare time scrolling on TikTok. So people don't know who they are. So their standards become unrelenting because it's not even their standards. It's other people's standards that they hold themselves to. And I think that's what's at the core of it. Yeah.
It must be difficult for the generation below. Because they're growing up in this social media world.
It's tough.
Like I'm like, honestly, you wake up and it's just in your face, like your phones,
literally,
the constant scrolling, the comparisons. Whereas when we were growing up, it wasn't that. If your phone had Snake, you were winning.
Snake?
Am I too old?
No, but you gave me a core memory. Like asking my dad, can I take your phone please so I can play Snake? Core memory. But no, I hear you. When Snake 2 came out.
Snake 2?
Yeah.
Was that the one in colour?
You could go through the walls.
Okay, so I was born in an era where the walls were, that was just a standard that came.
Yeah, well, I wasn't.
Yeah, sorry.
I was thinking about the one on the Nokia phone.
Yeah, the Nokia phone.
Yeah.
And then the Nokia without the colour, like this phone was like calculator.
Yes.
and then the snake was literally dots, right?
Yes.
Were you talking about the same snake?
We are absolutely talking about the same thing.
I'm thinking about Snake 2 that I didn't know there was another one. Like,
Yeah, there was a number one, but
Okay.
just before your time. Don't worry about that.
Okay, sorry, I'm back.
The kids these days don't have it.
wow.
They don't have it. They don't have it. Like you said, they wake up and they go on TikTok and they're scrolling. Like even when I work with my kids, part of my conversation to like try and build a relationship is what's on your FYP. Like I literally talk to them
Yeah.
about TikTok and
Yeah.
algorithms and stuff because they'll actually talk to me about that. Yeah, it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot. And they don't know who they are. It's quite sad.
It is. It's very difficult for parents to navigate, I'm sure. And they have to become so much more aware with the changing landscape to kind of monitor and manage those things. Otherwise, their kids are just going to struggle. As you said, they won't know who they are when they're growing up. They're constantly trying to be like these celebrities, these influencers. They're seeing people getting taken to, I don't know, Novikov at 17, the Shard at 16. With what monies?
With what monies?
Can you work at that age?
No, where's your NI number even? No, I hear it.
That's tough.
It's tough. It's discernment. I think, yeah, and I think it's hard. You're talking about kids. They don't have the kind of processes yet developed in their brain to be able to discern. But actually, I'm realizing adults don't have that either, to be honest. Like that discernment. Like, remember when, do you know who Emma Grede is?
Yeah.
Yeah, Emma Grede. She came out with the kind of idea about this 3-hour mum thing. Did you see that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
You're shaking and nodding at the same time. I actually don't know what you're
Do
thinking.
you know what? You were mentioning that it's a values thing, right? We're all going to
Yeah.
have different values. What she values is not me, it's not what I personally value. And don't have children. If I
Yeah.
did, that's not what I'd want for my children. From a professional lens, I don't think that is good for children. But yeah, no, I don't think that 3-hour mum thing will optimize like her business and optimize what she priorities, values. But maybe in her head, she's rationalizing it that way because if she does that, then her child will benefit. But then also, again, what do you value? You value the emotional well-being of your child or the material things your child has? What's more important? So, not my cup of tea.
But at least you can say that. That's the point, right? You can say, that's not for me, you know? Like,
Yeah.
For sure.
and I think that's the thing that's going to be important. Like, people need to be able to look at something, look at Stephen Bartlett, take in all of this media about productivity and stuff, and be like, okay, cool, that works for me. That doesn't quite work for me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And again, sometimes it might even be things that you want to be able to do, but you can't because you don't have the right like circumstances right now. You might be, I don't know, looking after an elderly parent, whatever it is, and then you can't do that, right? And that's that's sad and that's unfortunate, but you don't need to beat yourself up over it because you've seen it online. So I think, again, it's about a balance. It's about this, like, have some discernment, like what works for you, what doesn't work for you, what's even important to you, what's not important to you, and then go from there. I remember that your life doesn't have to look like everyone else's life. It definitely doesn't have to look like Stephen's life. Yeah.
How would you say people can get to know themselves better
That's a good
and
question.
understand themselves, know their values, know what's important to them? How do people get in touch with that?
So I do an exercise with people, and I literally just get a list of values. Guys, if you type in value list,
Sort card.
yeah, online, you'll get a PDF with loads of different words on it, like adventure, challenge, sexuality, freedom, like all of these words will come up, and I literally just sit with them and be like, look at the words, and when you feel something, tell me. Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes it's just a visceral reaction. So I think people being able to see it on a piece of paper and then being like, oh yeah, actually that kind of like fits with me, and then they can go away and think about it a little bit more. That's like the first step, I would think. Or another first step would be asking yourself specific questions. When is the last time that I felt really joyful? Like, think about that time. What were you doing? Who were you with? Like, and that can start to give you clues about what's important to you. When's the last time I felt really drained by something? Again, who were you with? What were you doing? What was the conversation? Like, whatever it is, like, try and pick out little things, and then you can see that actually those things don't fit me.
Yeah. I usually I go to, I either do a sort card kind of list, or I do, it's like a wheel of values basically, but it's like layers, like a bullseye if you think darts. So what we do is work our way from the outside. So I might say, out of a list, pick 25, for example, values that might be kind of calling to you, might resonate with. Then we work our way to 15, and then from 15 to 10 to 5. So it gets from the outer layer all the way into the core you. So you work your way from with 25, 15, 10, 5. And then from there, we start to think about, okay, if these are your values, how can we live a life aligned with those? And it can look various ways. There's no one way. You can't achieve a value. That makes sense?
What you have.
Right? You can live a life according to that value, it's like your compass, your North Star. And your ways to kind of achieve that is through the goals and the steps to kind of do that, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I use.
I like that.
It reminded me of, so I do sessions in schools as well. So I have dual roles. One of them I deliver psychologically informed sessions in schools. We have a values session that's about teaching young people about values. Very similar to what you said. We throw a bunch of values, explain what values are, then we throw a bunch of values on the board, and we have the young people say which ones resonate with them. But another thing that I've done is I've linked values to, we would call them social graces. Social graces are the things that make us us, so the parts of our identity. So be that gender, sexuality, religion, class, race, every aspect of our identity. And then we think about where those values come from the different parts of our identity, to allow the young people to connect with the values and understand, actually, why do I have this value? I have this value because this is how my mum raised me. My mum raised me to respect people. Or why do I have values? Because I had this life experience, and so I value saving money. But having people connect the parts of their identity to the actual different, when they see the words and they make the connection, they can really understand why the value's there and why it's important to them. It's something that we do with the young people, and it's something I do in my sessions as well.
I like the use of the graces in there with the values.
Yeah.
I like that.
Our values are who we are. They are part of our identity. But I think we forget that, and we're saying people don't know themselves.
Yeah.
They're who we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. So we're saying that Stephen, watch him, but discernment. Have some discernment. Know who you are before you run off with all of these things. Especially actually, someone in the chat was saying that like their generation is cooked. So I think that, with all this, it says the productivity bros kill me, man. Yes, because I guess it's it can feel like a lot for people. So yeah, how do we find that balance? How do we get to know ourselves? How do we have some discernment? For sure. Guys, we got a letter to the couch. Got a letter.
What they're saying.
Ding 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 dilemma. Okay, so guys, we've got a letter to the couch. So this is where people can send in their issues, dilemmas, whatever they want us to kind of help them think through. And this one says, over the past year, I've become convinced that I might have ADHD. It started when I came across videos online. They were describing symptoms like procrastination, difficulty concentrating, losing things, feeling really overwhelmed by simple tasks, and struggling to stay organised. I previously lost a job because of this. I'm now seeking a diagnosis, but I don't know if it's worth it. I'm not sure if I've always had ADHD and not just realised it, or am I just spending too much time consuming ADHD content? I spend most of my day switching between screens, notifications. My diet isn't perfect. My stress levels are high, and I often feel mentally exhausted. Could all of these things be affecting my attention and behaviour? And it looks like ADHD. I also don't want to go about a diagnosis just because I've seen it and I've been influenced by social media. So I guess the core question is, should I go ahead and get it? Is this enough for me to go ahead and look for a diagnosis, or am I just sort of taking in too much content? What do you guys think?
We need some of these letters on the screen because my brain.
There's a lot of
There's a lot of information.
Yeah. Do you want me to read it again?
if you don't mind.
Over the past year, I've become convinced that I might have ADHD. It started when I came across videos online describing symptoms like procrastination, difficulty concentrating, losing things, feeling overwhelmed by simple tasks, and struggling to stay organised. I previously lost a job because of this. Now I'm considering seeking a diagnosis, but I don't know if it's worth it. I'm not sure if I've always had ADHD and I've just not realised it, or I've spent too much time consuming ADHD content. I spend most of my day switching between screens, notifications. My diet isn't perfect. My stress levels are high and I often feel mentally exhausted. Could these things be affecting my attention and behaviour in ways that look like ADHD? I also don't want to pursue a diagnosis just because I've been influenced by social media. What are your thoughts?
What's the impact and function of getting a diagnosis for this person? I might have missed it in like maybe one of the first 2 paragraphs.
Should we explain what you mean by function and thingy first?
And the purpose.
Yeah, explain your question.
So like for me, it's like is it stopping you from going work? Are you not productive enough? Are you, for example, in meetings you can't, let's say, someone's speaking to you, giving like a brief or whatever it might be on your task, and you physically cannot concentrate, and you're struggling in that kind of that realm.
They've lost a job before.
Oh, it's in that as well. They lost a
Yeah,
job.
so I previously lost a job because of this. So they can't, they find it hard to concentrate. They're constantly losing things. They feel overwhelmed by simple tasks. They can't stay organised.
Okay, so daily tasks and work is impacted.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
They're saying, but we don't know how long for. This is the thing. So they're obviously talking about it now, and they've been talking. They were talking about watching things online. So we don't know how long this has been for, though.
Because there's habits there as well.
So with neurodevelopment, the spectrum of things, ADHD, autism, dyslexia, and a range of other difficulties, a lot of the diagnostic criteria is presence from childhood. So is it something recent, or is it something that's progressively got worse and maybe something that's always been there?
They're not sure. So they're saying that over the past year, they've been convinced that they have it. They've seen the symptoms, but she doesn't know if, well, I said she, I don't know if it's a she. They don't know if it's worth it, if they've maybe always had ADHD and not realised it. So yeah, like you were saying, if it's neurodevelopmental. So when we say neurodevelopmental, we're thinking about how your brain development has been since birth, essentially. And ADHD, or attention deficit hyperactive disorder, falls under that umbrella because it's basically saying that your brain is developed in a way since childhood which affects your attention and your hyperactivity levels and impulsivity as well, which looks like all of these things that they said, right? Procrastinating, finding it hard to concentrate, finding it hard to stay organised. But this is the thing, it has to have existed from childhood. But we don't know. And the thing is, this is the thing, right? So they said, maybe I've always had it and I've just not realised it. A lot of people go about their lives
they
not
do.
knowing.
Yeah.
They get their coping strategies and almost it's masked because of its coping. But then you find that a lot of people, when they become working aged adults, they can't mask the same way they did when they were in education or when they lived with a parent. Because a parent was probably counteracting a lot of the things,
that happens a lot.
reminding them to go to their appointment. So as you move into different stages of their life, these things start to bubble to the surface. So it's definitely possible.
Definitely possible.
It does depend, because they can organise their life and environment in a way where this can go under the radar
Yeah.
forever, actually, for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
You know, but it's only when something goes out of tinker, in a sense. And then what they might even pick up is someone around them that might pick up, actually, have you noticed that when this happens, you do this or X, Y, and Z?
Well, for them, it's been content. The TikTok stuff we were
The
talking about
TikTok
earlier.
stuff.
That can be helpful.
Yeah.
It can be helpful. But again,
Informative.
again, on the flip side, no, it can be really helpful. I guess you can look at it and be like, actually, you know what, that's me. I never realised that this was a thing. But also, it can then make you too aware, and then you think, oh, because I can't concentrate now and again, I might have ADHD. So it's a fine line, and I guess they're worried about that because at the end they said I don't want to pursue if I've just been influenced by social media.
But there's screeners out there, and they can think about some form of screening, because on the face of it, without, obviously we don't know in terms of the full extent, in terms of, they said a year, don't know if it's from birth or from childhood, but you can definitely do like a screener and explore it, because on the face of it, and the fact that your daily life and your functioning, you've lost a job previously because of some of these difficulties, it is worth exploring. I'm not saying to go for a full diagnostic, but for your own good, explore.
For your own peace of mind as
For your
well.
own peace of mind, yeah.
Yeah, they can definitely do a
Screening
screener
question.
online. There's quite a few. You type it in, they come up.
Because
Some are more
understanding,
credible than others, though. So just make sure whatever screening questionnaire you do choose, there is maybe some evidence behind it, or there's some research behind it. And usually it will have the screening questionnaire with the name of the authors that did the research behind it, as opposed to just a random pop psychology questionnaire online, because there's
Yeah,
loads
they
of
do
those
that.
as well.
yeah.
So you could do a snaps. So I'm just making sure, because we use that with kids as well.
Yeah.
So like a snap is a screening tool for that. And I think you can do them online for free. Yeah, you can. So that might be something.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
sometimes for some people, the understanding is power in a sense. It's like, oh, now that makes sense. How this is always how I thought it was just me, you know. And for some people, it could be adaptations. Now you understand yourself a bit better. There's a reason for some of these things that you do, you know.
When someone tells me they want to pursue a diagnosis, my first question is why? How would life change? What does that mean for you? Because sometimes a diagnosis isn't always strictly necessary. Sometimes, like you said, it can be part of validation. Sometimes it could be access to certain things like support, medication, adaptations at work, school, etc. But if it isn't either of those, or it's that you don't have an answer for the why, then maybe it's not necessary in that particular instance, I don't think. So people should also think about why they want a diagnosis. It sounds like she might need support when it comes to work because she lost a job.
Yeah, we don't know if it's a woman. But they lost the job. Yeah,
But shows like She-Man.
Yeah. So they might need support, and that's the thing. Like, I do the same thing. It's like, what would it be for? Again, if you're like concerned about whether you can maintain a job, there are places out there that can help you with that. You can have occupational health as well at work to help you, and sometimes they want you to have that diagnosis. So if that's what, like, one of the reasons, then I'm also like I guess there's another question about, like, could these things be affecting my attention and behavior that look like ADHD? And by these things, the switching between screens and notifications, the stress, because yes, actually, and but at the same time, I guess that's why a assessment can be helpful, because it can help you understand that a little bit more. Because a lot of the time, again, I work with children, something about children, there are a lot of things that can be happening with them in their lives that look like ADHD, and it's actually not ADHD. But the same with adults as well. Me, if I'm tired, do you think I can concentrate? I can't concentrate. And we're not just talking about how everyone's tired and how everyone's exhausted from constantly doing things. So it is possible that all of these things are happening and are affecting your attention. So I'd be interested in knowing a little bit more about, like, what was happening at the time you lost your job. Because did you lose your job because you couldn't stay organized, or was something happening in your life and you were stressed out so you couldn't stay organized? So I think it's worth thinking about those things as well, because yes, all of those things can definitely impact your attention and activity levels and stuff. So it might be worth having a think about that as well.
I'm just thinking, we don't actually know the age of this person, but if they went this long without it being detected, because we don't know if it's male or female, what's the differences in terms of detection, ADHD?
In terms of how professionals see it, or other people see it. So we tend to see, this is all very generalized, guys, like stereotypical, but boys tend to have higher levels of activity. So they can tend to stick out a little bit more. Girls, we tend to see a bit more inattention, or their activity levels tend to look like things like talking. So they talk a lot, right? So I might be working with someone and they, a young girl, and maybe she's got like hyperactivity, and she'll be talking, and then the story goes somewhere else, and then we go around this, and then she forgot what I even asked her, and it's because she's like internally distracted by things. So that's the inattention, but also like the hyperactivity because she keeps going. So boys tend to stick out like sore thumbs when they're younger,
Especially in school.
especially in schools. They tend to be labelled as disruptive. They tend to be the one that keeps getting kicked out of class. And then as they get older, again, this is very generic, boys can become quite impulsive and do things a little bit more dangerous than girls. And if girls are doing things that are dangerous, it looks different. So what I see is that boys can get, girls can as well. This is, again, very general. They get really like violent and they get into fights and things like that. They might take a lot of drugs, substances. Girls, we see maybe some like relationship issues. So again, getting involved with sexual partners quite recklessly, again with boys. But yeah, they tend to look different. And it's as a girl gets older, we start to notice some things a little bit more. So that was loads of stuff.
What about for black boys? In terms of how do schools label that?
Oh, they get it double whammy. They get it double whammy. That, what I see is that the referral tends to have less about, I wonder if they have ADHD.
For sure.
And they've got behavioural issues.
They have
and there's
behavioural
something wrong
issues.
with this child, and we don't know what's wrong with this child, but there's something wrong with that child.
So they're aggressive.
So they're actually underdiagnosed black boys. The prevalence, the diagnosis is not the same. There's racial disparity in how much black boys are diagnosed for a whole host of other systemic reasons within the school, and how the schools understand children, even empathy when it comes to black children, self-fulfilling prophecies when it comes to black children. There's already biases some teachers and teaching staff might already have. So rather than receiving the support or the referral to CAM services, like Dr. Amani works in, actually they don't look at it through the lens of potentially neurodevelopmental difficulty. They look at the lens of
behavioural.
Yeah. And it's funny because a lot of behavioural things do still go through to child and adolescent mental health services, don't they?
Yeah, we still get behavioural difficulties, but again, it tends to be like an expression of some kind of like emotional distress that they're going through, some kind of trauma or something. So again, like even in assessments for children, we're trying to think, is this stuff that you're going through and affecting your attention and all of those things, and it looks like ADHD, or is it ADHD, or is it both? Because it can be both at the same time. Again, for this person as well, all of the above can also be true. Yeah. Because I think as well, it's like chicken and egg sometimes. It's like a bit of like a endless loop of like, I might have ADHD, so I really struggle with this thing, but I know that I need to go to work and do this thing. So then I get really stressed because I can't do this thing, and then that affects my attention even more, and then you get this like cycle. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it could be all of those things. And then like you said, if you add on the kind of like race element of it, gender element of it as well, you are then seeing even more stress that can be added on because of how they're being labelled. You know what, let me not get into some of the things that I've heard that kids can go through at school. But it can be really dire, and then you're impacting not only their mental health, but then they're getting kicked out of class all the time. Are they even learning anything? And then now, are they getting GCSEs? Are they getting A-levels? And then they're going to get a job. Like, it's a constant, like, ripple effect, domino effect. It's quite sad.
So then if we take it back to our letter, are we saying it's worth exploring, especially if it's been from young?
I think a good starting point is the screening measure, but I think there needs to be some reflection and thought about what else might be going on for this person. Any sort of major life events, any other sort of stresses, quality of sleep, even the quality of diet. All of these things can present as ADHD-like symptoms, but the screening measure will help to the process of elimination.
Yeah, if they think about what you said as well at the time of doing the screening, because if you just do the screening, you will probably come up high. You need to think about everything together and then do the screening. But yeah, I would say the same. So do this. Think about those things. Do the screener. And then look into how, if it comes up high, look into how to get an assessment. So the way that you can do that is through obviously your GP, and they will take you to a local kind of adult service where you can get an ADHD assessment. Now, let me keep it very real. I'm going to give you the real. You're going to wait a long time.
Very long time.
You're going to wait a long time. I think we're looking, kids, it's about 3 to 4 years. I think we're looking at a couple of years for adults. However, if you do the right to choose option, so the right to choose option essentially says that the NHS knows that there are incredibly long waiting lists for ADHD and autism assessments. So to help with that, there are private companies that the NHS are commissioning to kind of do some of that assessment work and kind of get through the wait list. So if you go to your GP, if you Google right to choose first, so you know what it is, because I don't want you to go there to your GP and just know your stuff. So Google right to choose, go to your GP and say, look, I know that my local service is probably going to be X amount of years. I want to think about right to choose. At the moment, the last time I checked, so this is correct as of the 29th of May 2026, you're looking at like 7 months-ish to get that assessment, which is obviously way shorter than the years that you would be waiting. Whilst you're doing that, so regardless of which route you go down to get the assessment, you can also go privately if you've got insurance through your work or you can afford to do that. Regardless of all of those things, start to tend to the things that we were just talking about. Watch your screen time, watch your stress levels, watch your sleep. Why? Because if you start to realize that you get some coping skills to deal with all of that stuff, and then all of these symptoms kind of die down, by the time you get to the top of that wait list, you can be like, you know what, I'm actually okay. Like that's the worst thing that can happen. You just say, I don't need it anymore. But at least then, if you do need it, you're on the wait list, and then you can get it.
Basically, doing your own differential.
Yeah, exactly. It could be many different things.
Yeah. I'm with that.
For sure. Cool. Do we feel like we've answered the question?
I believe so.
Okay, good. Hopefully. And then maybe we can put a link to right to choose or something in the bio so that they can see it as well.
For sure.
Yeah.
I'm with that.
Okay.
So that's episode 2.
Finito.
And you know I'm gonna have to end it like this all the time. Guys, you have to like, comment, subscribe, listen, hit the notification bell. We're out.